China in the first millennium. Yang Qian seized in the year 581 the throne in northern China and then conquered also southern China. And that reunited China for the first time since the Han Dynasty in the year 220. And he founded now the Sui dynasty. And during the Sui dynasty, so him and his follower, Yang Di, the Great Canal was rebuilt, linking China's main rivers. Yang Di was then strangled, and one of his ministers seized the throne, Li Yuan. And he founded the Tang dynasty. And during the Tang dynasty, there was then trading made, China grew richer, and arts and science flourished. Some people were drinking tea, gunpowder was invented. And in the year 751, China was the largest empire of the world, and Chang'an, the capital, was with more than 1 million inhabitants, the biggest city in the world. And there were poets, for example, Li Po, who wrote about his love for the mountains and also about the fleeting nature of happiness. And landscapes were painted, pictures of landscapes. And a book was written in the year 868, the Diamond Sutra. Then in the year 800 and the decades following, the Tang dynasty broke a little bit up and the country came a bit into turmoil. But then around the year 900, order was restored by the Song dynasty, which was ruling until 1276. Then Kublai Khan came and conquered the empire. And that is according to Miles Kelter World History book on the page 224. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and not necessarily in line with my own, or for the ones of the entities as spoken of. Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn history today, the Sui, Tang and Song. And after we've done that, we're going to do extensor kappa analysis strength training. And if you participate in the extensor kappa analysis strength training, it's at your own risk. And it are just some bullet point to the Sui, Tang and Song. In total, just 11 for 1,000 years. So it is drastically oversimplified. Probably, I know it is oversimplified, but I don't know the reality. But it's a little introduction. And just to the names and something. And this is part 2, and now we're going to read it again and we try to memorize it so that I'm able to make a presentation out of memory about these things named here. Sui, Tang and Song. In 581, Yang Qian seized the throne in the north of China and founded the Sui dynasty. North of China, Shang Xian seizing throne, Sui dynasty. Yang Qian conquered the south and reunited China for the first time since the fall of the Han, 220. Yang Qian, throne 581, north of China, when conquering south, and that reunites China since the first time since the fall of the Han dynasty, 220. And under the second Sui emperor, Yang Di, so when Yang Qian and Yang Di, China's Grand Canal was rebuilt on a huge scale, linking China's main rivers. Other canals extended the network. And while when his successor Yang Di was ruling, the Grand Canal and also other canals were built to link the main rivers of China. Yang Di was betrayed, so we're having the Sui dynasty just two emperors. Two emperors. Yang Di was betrayed by one of his 3,000 mistresses and was strangled in 618. Li Yuan, an ambitious Sui minister, then seized the throne to found the Tang dynasty. So Yang Di then was strangled, and one of his he was strangled by one of his mistresses, and then one of his ministers, Li Yuan, seized the throne, and now it was a Tang dynasty. Under the Tang, trade grew, China became rich again, and the arts and science flourished. And while the Tangs were ruling, a lot of trading was done, trading was done, and the country became richer, and the arts and sciences flourished. 751, China was the world's largest empire and the capital, and became then the largest country or empire, and the capital was Chang'an. It was the first largest city. China was the world's largest empire, and the capital Chang'an was the world's largest city with over 1 million inhabitants. So, world's largest city. I said previously there were other cities with its size. Constantinople had 1 million, Rome had 1 million, and also, I don't know, Tutankhamun, something, had also 1 million in Mexico. Probably. Okay, it had 1 million people. World largest city, Chang'an, the capital. World largest city, world largest empire, 1 million inhabitants, 751. Chinese people were the first to drink tea and sit on chairs. The Romans had at least something similar to chairs. And they, maybe not out of wood chairs, but they had also possibilities to sit on. They were stone seats. Maybe there was even wood on them. But they at least not saying these were the first people there in China to invent the possibility to sit down. But maybe chairs, maybe wooden chairs which were transportable, which were mobile. Poets such as Li Po wrote of his love of wild mountains and the fleeting nature of happiness. China's tradition of great landscape painting began in one of the earliest printed books. The Diamond Sutra was made in 868. Okay, the Tang dynasty. That was the one Li Yuan, 618. When Li Yuan and under Tang, trade growing, China richer, arts and science flourishing. 751. Empire, Chang'an, capital, 1 million people. Li Po, 8th century, writing about wild mountains, the fleeting nature of happiness. And also paintings were made and books like the Diamond Sutra in 868. By 800, the Tang dynasty was beginning to break up. Chang'an declined and China descended into turmoil. Order was restored in 960 when the Song family began to rule from the city of Kaifeng. Now here's so much skipped, I'm wondering what we can say there. If you have a reason for why coming to turmoil, that would make sense, but order was restored in 960 when the Song family began to rule. 960 the Song started to rule from Kaifeng, but until 1276, then the Mongols of Kublai Khan conquered China. And also gunpowder, science with gunpowder was invented in the Tang era. The Chinese used it first to make fireworks and later weapons, for firework and weapons. Okay, am I able to save it all? Sui, Tang, and Song. Maybe we should wait another part one more time, really. Sui, Tang, Xin, this is so much. It's so much. Yang Xian, then this is middle. Yang Xian, 581, seizing the throne in northern China, then conquering southern China, reuniting the empire, first time since the decline of the Han dynasty 220. Then his successor, Yang Di, is murdered by one of his mistresses in 686. 618. And one of his ministers, Li Yuan, seizes the throne and becomes emperor. And founds the Tang dynasty. Tang dynasty is going on, the country is flourishing, trading is flourishing, arts and science, gunpowder is invented, first use for fireworks and for trading, for weapons. And people are drinking tea and sitting on chairs. I don't know what we should make out of it. And then the other things. Paintings were done. There were poets like Li Po in the 7th century writing about the wild mountains and the fleeting nature of happiness. And then by 800 the country comes into turmoil. We need another part of it to formulate it a little bit better. The country comes into more turmoils. The Song dynasty can restore, reunite the empire. That's too much speculation. Chang'an, largest empire Chang'an, biggest city, 781. Comes to determine, but it's been restored in 960 by the Song family. It is not good expressed. By the Song family, 960, ruling until 1276 when the Mongols of Kublai Khan conquered China. Okay, I would be able to say it, but let's make another part to it. So if you were here for history, you can calculate the next part of history. There we're going to do the presentation, where we're going to save it, about the Sui, Tang, and Song. If you stay here and participate in the extensive Kappa and strength training with this video, have a good and stable standing stance, arms up with fists, and we'll ring them down and up. And fists and like that, and down. We're having 3 rules. The first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as there's pain. The second rule is that we go only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is that we're not overdoing it. We just want to strengthen, not to exhaust. And you can use a t-shirt, a towel, or a sock, press onto it, and down. And with your other hand, press and down. Press evenly with all 5 fingers. Other hand, press and to the outside. Only as far as it goes with a little bit of effort. And only if it is painless. And then time out. And change. Press and in. And from the top, press and down. Up again. With the other hand, press in neutral position, down, up. And just press down neutral position. And with the other hand. And that was the extensor Kappa analysis strength training. I thank you very much, and until next time.